Hi and welcome to another edition of OnSide SA. Budge and I are going to go through what's happening locally, what's happening with the Euros. We're talking to our international pundit Stevie B. He's in Spain at the moment. Madeira, there we go.
Ronaldo Island.
There we go. So he's having a good time, but he will keep us abreast of what's going on. Budge, let's get straight into it. The promotion relegation battle's over.
Yeah, Paul Richards Bay. Paul, they won 5 of their last 8 PSL games, so they shouldn't have been in it, but they had a terrible start. But they never lost 2 wins, 2 draws. They needed a point yesterday, and they won comfortably. A 3-0 up at half-time, and they cruised through, Paul. So good luck to them.
So Richards Bay come through University of Pretoria and Baroka Calcium.
The second and third again, Paul. That's where they finished in the first division.
Who won the first division?
Magezi, Clinton Larson's team.
Clinton Larson, didn't he take a team?
Yeah, he was here. Clinton played for Manning Rangers.
Yeah, I remember him as a player.
He's had a few jobs, Clinton.
No idiot.
Nice guy.
Yeah, good guy. All right, let's get hold of Stevie B. We've got a few questions for him. Stevie, are you about?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. Steve Cooper, what's the story?
Yeah, I think that's interesting because a day or so ago it looked like Graham Potter might be going there, and now all of a sudden it's Steve Cooper. So look, they obviously think he obviously felt he did a reasonable job at Forest. It wasn't his fault that the chairman brought in sort of 24 players and expected him to, for them to gel. But no, I think that's probably a reasonable. Sort of, I thought Graham Potter might have been a good shout, but they obviously feel Steve Cooper can do the job. And the job is basically keeping them up because I think they're still at risk from a points deduction, and if that's the case, then it's going to make it really hard for them.
Steve, what's the talk? Sorry, Butch. What's the talk about who's going to get the deduction in the Premier League?
Well, I think basically certain teams have got to get their books in order by the end of this month, so that's fairly critical. But Leicester's points deduction is based on their last season, where they fell foul of sort of PSR before they got relegated, and obviously once they're in the Championship, nothing happens. But the fact they're now back in the Premier League, then the punishment can happen. But I think that is to happen. They need to sort it out sooner rather than later. Teams need to know early rather than halfway through the season if they've got a points deduction or not. Yeah. But my understanding is that it's pretty nailed on. There should be a points deduction for them, because obviously they were tough on Everton and Forest, so I can't see they could be any more lenient to Leicester. I think it's more a question of how many points. So if it's sort of between 4 and 6, but if it's any more than that, then I think it is going to be a challenge for Steve Cooper.
Sure. I think he got the job, Steve, purely because they could go down. And he's brought Nottingham Forest up, so it's a twofold decision. But I thought Graham Potter would have a chance, but nothing wrong with Steve Cooper.
Do you feel, and I don't know if I'm right here, Steve, that you've got a situation where you can pay less and get a manager like Cooper would be less than Potter? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think nowadays Premier League managers, they command a certain level. Graham Potter before he went to Chelsea would not have got paid much more, they say, than Steve Cooper did at Forest before he left. So, I think they've got to pay a certain amount, and it's worth it because obviously, if he keeps them up, then it's worth, 100 and something million. So, I think that. To save a couple of million a year, if they don't get the right person, is probably very short-term thinking.
Yeah, I would give them a bonus if they did get promoted. That's how I would look at it. Steve, Premiership starts Friday, August the 16th. Man United, Fulham. What a great game in prospect.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but listen, it's all eyes will be on Old Trafford for the opening game, and from our perspective as for Fulham, we've got to hit the ground running better than we did last year because we faffed around with on the transfer market, and the whole Mitrovic thing sort of upset the apple cart for a couple of weeks. So we can't afford for that to happen again, especially with Pellegrini. We don't know whether he's staying or going, but I think the club, if they are going to make signings, they need to try and organise it and get them in beforehand, rather than sort of this sort of end of transfer window panic. So, look, we won at Old Trafford last year. I'm not that optimistic that would happen again. I think Ten Hag, got a new lease of life. Obviously, got the backing of the board. I think United will bring a few players in. So, I think anything we get will be a bonus on the opening day.
Yeah, Ipswich, Liverpool, Saturday lunchtime and Monday night.
Do they still play Portland Road?
Yeah.
Good chance, good opportunity for Ipswich. A great start for them.
Yeah.
Liverpool, interesting. Obviously, all the comments Klopp made about lunchtime kickoffs, but huge game. Look, you've got to play all the big teams at some point. So, I guess they feel let's do it. They might catch. Often you can catch the big teams cold on the opening day, or certainly, the crowd will be up for it. So, no, good luck to them.
And an early kickoff as well. And Leicester Tottenham, Paul.
Yeah, again, we go away from home first time. We're just looking at our fixtures. We always seem to go home, away from home first game. We had Brentford last year, 2 each. Remember, we led the league after 10 games, but we always go away. So
I got to play them sometime. Monday night's better than Saturday or Saturday
I think it'll be a
yeah.
full go by our guys. Full go, trying to get started in the new year. But Leicester will be trying their hardest. It's not the worst time.
Yeah.
One day, I hope for the best.
Yep, true. Anyway, the week before that's a Saturday, Man United, Man City in the Community Shield. Anyway, the Euros have taken precedent now, Steve, and there's a few games tonight. Slovenia versus Serbia. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, Serbia, I thought second half played very well against England. England just sat back, and Serbia maybe a bit unlucky not to get something in the end. But, Slovenia did well against Denmark. I can see them actually. I think whoever wins this will go through. A draw isn't the worst result for Slovenia because they've already got a point. Yeah. But Serbia are going to look. I think a draw might not be enough for Serbia. Yeah,
I think they've both got to win it because Serbia, Denmark, if they don't get a result, they're in trouble. And Slovenia play England, so that won't be easy. Excuse me. Denmark, England, Steve. What do you think?
Tight game. I think England have got the players if they can play as a team. I was disappointed with the second half performance. We sat back too much. The first 15, 20 minutes against Serbia, I thought we played really well. Yeah. The worry for me is that you've got players who, someone like Phil Foden, who is outstanding for City, he doesn't feel comfortable playing on that left side for England. Yeah. He loves to come in onto from the right onto his left foot, which he does, but obviously Gareth Southgate prefers Saka there. Yeah. Jude Bellingham and I thought had a fantastic game. It's almost like Bellingham and Rice, they got to sort of build the team around them because those are the two that sort of kept it all together. Yeah. But, I think England could well win this, but probably be tight, maybe a goal, and that's enough. A win, even a draw, probably is not the worst result, but a win guarantees England in the top two.
Steve, I was listening to Gareth Southgate. Now when you listen to most footballers or ex-footballers who are pundits and that, you realise they didn't get private education. Did he go private school?
No, I don't think he did. I think he started as a footballer young, but he's articulate and he speaks well. But I'm not aware that he did. Very few do. Very few do because of the way that clubs. Have the players on their books at a young age, and that's how it works. And they get into their academy, and they're there pretty much full time. He's just very articulate, and
Steve,
it comes across well.
The reason why I say it, I was listening to him talk, and he said, I'm ambivalent about that. Ambivalent, mixed feelings, love, hate. And I thought, sure, not many footballers would have come out with ambivalent.
Steve, I was listening to TalkSport and David Moyes was on and they were having a go. And I think there's a journalist called Alex Cross and he was saying, this and...
Alex Crook,
Is it Crook, yeah. And he was having a go and David Moyes said to him, well, you know a lot. Why don't you go and get your licenses and go and take over a team? Yeah. That shut him up very quickly. And for me, it was the first game they won.
Look, the truth is, we're all backseat pundits, aren't we? Managers. Yeah. We can all sit there and criticise and think we can do better. But the truth is, he picks a team, he sends them out, and he relies then on that point. The only thing he can really do to change it is is the substitutions in a way. So
First game, Steve, give them a chance, and he'll play the same team, I would expect.
Who, England?
Yeah, I think he'll play the same team, and let's see what happens. If there's no improvement, well, he's got to make earlier changes, but I think they'll be okay. And a big game tonight, Steve, Spain-Italy.
This is a great game.
Spain were impressive.
Yeah, I've just got a feeling Spain could edge this.
Yeah,
I think but obviously these are the big two in the group. A draw probably puts them both through, but I fancy Spain to edge it and win the group.
Me too.
So do I. Nice price too. I think they were 11-10.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to Friday's games that we've got ahead here, and we'll bring them up now. And Slovakia, Ukraine, Steve. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I was impressed with Slovakia. I thought they did really well. I mean, obviously under a bit of pressure from Belgium, but great result for them. And I think, I can see them winning this. I think there's good value in those odds. They win this and they put themselves through, which is something that, rarely happened for them.
Now, Ukraine were disappointing. I thought they'd have a good competition, not a good players, but trying to be clever, playing out from the back. They'll respond, Steve. I think there's goals in this, but it wouldn't surprise me if they cancel each other out. I think the problem with Slovakia, Belgium could have had 4 or 5 goals. Lukaku missed 4, 2 goals disallowed, but I think goals is the way to go in this particular game. Poland-Austria, Steve, I was really impressed with what I saw from Austria against France. Not that Poland didn't play well when they lost to the Netherlands, but got an early goal from a corner and they try to hang on. But if Austria can score 1 or 2 goals, I think they could be a danger in the knockout stages. But against Poland, Steve, you think they're good things?
Yeah, I think that they should. I think they'll look at this. I mean, they'll need to. They can't afford to lose it. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think they they put a good account of themselves. Probably a little bit unlucky. So they haven't got a bad side. They often do well in the Euros. Not so much in the World Cup, but in the Euros they often do well. So I fancy them maybe just to edge it.
Yeah, of the two, that's the side I like. A big game on Friday night, Steve. The Netherlands versus France.
Big game.
I was disappointed. I was disappointed with France, but we know that they've got the players who can turn up. It doesn't sound like Mbappe will play.
No, he won't play.
Recovering from his broken nose, that they're building making a special mask for him to wear, which probably won't be for the third game. But I think I just got a feeling France, will be disappointed with the way they played, and I think that they'll step it up a gear, and I think they'll win. Might be the odd goal in 3, but I fancy France.
Yeah, so do I. 11-10. Must say, is one of my bets. Steve, Georgia, the Czech Republic. I was impressed with both sides. The Georgians had a full go. They're a little bit unlucky to lose 3-1, but I'd rather lose 3-1 than lose 2-1, not having a go.
Both teams have a go.
Geez, the Czech Republic were unlucky against the Portuguese. I just think the Czechs will have too much for them, though, Steve.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, again, they're going to, both teams, either whoever loses pretty much out. So, I think of the two, I think you're right. I think the Czech Republic probably just a little bit too strong. Yeah,
I think goals also a way to go. Second game, teams are settled in, but I fancy the Czechs. Turkey, Portugal, Steve, that young Turkey side, they had a go. A little bit fortunate at times because Georgia could have gone 2-1 up, but let's see, you're on the island of Madeira, Steve. What are the Portuguese going to say if they don't get a result?
Oh, they'd be very disappointed. They weren't happy. I mean, obviously they're happy that they won, but they weren't happy with the performance. And you look at the Portuguese team, you've got stars all over the place, players that we know well from the Premier League. I think that they'll probably rise to the occasion. But it wouldn't surprise me if, I think Portugal will win, but, Turkey are good enough to maybe hold them, give them a tough game. But I think both teams will go through, but I think maybe Portugal might just edge this one.
You know what amazed me about Portugal, Steve, is they played like a 3 centre-halves and 2 wing-backs. Then the 2 in the midfield and then the 3 boys up front. Ronaldo made 3 runs, and that Vitinha, they were all raving how well he played. He came, all he wanted was a chip over the top. Vitinha never saw the pass. Neto and the guys came on. They've got to play 4 at the back, 3 in the midfield and have a go. You can't play 3 centre-halves. Cancelo, Dalot as wing-back. Up front, number 9. He's not running too far, between box to box. It was a little bit lazy for the goal that got disallowed, but his performances wasn't bad. But they've got to get another attacking player on the line. But it should be a good game.
They've got the players in the squad.
They've got everything.
That's the thing. But
play your man, Paulinho, and have a go. Paulinho, Vitinha, and then you just play the other
Is
boys.
the Liverpool boy going to run?
Yeah.
Neto, yeah, he scored, but he got disallowed.
What's the
Diego
Liverpool?
Jota.
Jota, that's
He's
it,
a good player. He should play up front.
Good player.
Steve, next game we go on to, is Belgium-Romania. Desperate game for the Belgians.
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, we know they missed chances, but that was a very poor result for them, and a great result for Romania the other day. Scored a couple of cracking goals. You know, this is a must-win game for Belgium, really.
Yeah.
Whereas Romania, you know, look at this, they've got the pressure's off them. You know, with a big 3-0 and with the goal difference, they're in pole position. So I think this will be close. Belgium have got the players to unlock. Romania sat back and caught Ukraine on the hop a few times, but I think Belgium should be too strong. But this Romania side really surprised me. Probably one of the surprises of the tournament so far.
Yeah, no doubt. Just think how they handle Lukaku up front. Against Ukraine, they only had one up front, and their back four was never really tested. But I think this will be a different ball game. I think Belgium will get back to winning ways. Steve, on to Sunday, and these are the last games in the group. Scotland, Hungary. I know the Scots have shortened slightly, but Hungary will be no pushovers.
No.
Yeah, this is a huge game. In fact, a draw might be enough for Scotland for them to become
2
one
points.
of the four third place teams. So Hungary have got to go for it. They're bottom of the group at the moment. I think Hungary for me starts as favourites, but if Scotland know that a draw's enough, it puts pressure on Hungary because they've got to come out.
Steve, how can a draw be enough? This is good. You're talking about Germany.
It's the
fourth third best team, but I don't think 2 points will crack it.
No chance. No chance.
And it depends. It depends if you've got a group where teams only pick up 0 or 1 point.
Yeah, maybe.
So if it really depends on how. Look, if everybody in wins one game, then obviously not. They do, but at the moment they're in that position, Scotland, where 2 points may just be enough. If you take a group like England's group, for example, with England and I don't know. I've looked at I was reading something, and they said that 2 points might be enough for Scotland, but obviously it's in other teams' hands.
Yeah, I know.
Steve, if they draw,
the good thing is that the fact that there are 4 teams go through in third place, it does make these third games
play things
very
right.
often. Because very often they're dead rubbers.
Steve,
whereas now it's almost every game can count.
Steve, if Scotland drew with Hungary,
it's 2 points.
Switzerland, Germany through.
Yeah.
Hungary got through ahead of them.
No, Hungary have lost both games.
Yeah, but they're getting a point.
Hungary have lost both games.
Oh, okay, they've got 2.
Now, I don't see them going through with 2. Also, the main reason, Steve, is the goal difference.
Goal difference.
Yeah, that'll stick them out.
That's the thing that will work against them.
But
I think you're right. So you might find that 1 or 2 other teams are on 2 points.
Yeah, they'll be gone.
Scotland's goal difference is the worst. So
I think
you're right.
They've got to win.
A win puts them through.
Definitely, 4 points.
If not in the top 2, then certainly as one of the best third places. There's no question. 4 points.
No doubt, Hungary will score first, and the Scots will equalise, and the last 20 minutes will be end to end. That's how I see it. Steve, the Germans 6-10, too good for the Swiss.
I think so. I mean, they can sit back a little bit if they want, because a draw's enough to win the group for them. They've been playing well. It was a bit tighter the other day, but they've got players like Musiala looking good.
Yeah.
England's loss. I mean, you just think, there he was playing for England at all ages, and then swaps over to Germany. He could have been the sort of player you could have had behind Harry Kane, but not to be. So at the moment, Germany are looking strong, and I think that they might be too strong, and that puts a little bit of pressure on Switzerland because having sort of dropped points yesterday against Scotland.
And they'll still finish second, Steve, unless they get beat 4-5. But they'll still be fine.
Unless they have a heavy defeat. Unless they have a heavy defeat.
The Germans will rotate.
Unlikely.
So I don't see a heavy defeat there. Steve, the last 2 games we got is on Monday. Albania, great result, great fight back, injury time, 2-2. Do you see them giving Spain a game though?
I think they'll have a go because, again, they're in with a chance, but I think Spain will be too strong. But having said that, if Spain wins tonight, then they know that they're through, and again they might rotate a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I think Spain should certainly start as favourites.
Yeah, and Croatia, Italy, Steve, that's a big one. Whichever way it happens for the Croatians.
Croatia's last chance, you know.
Yeah.
I just sort of feel with an ageing squad that I think some of the players that we've seen over a number of tournaments we won't see after this.
Yeah, if he doesn't rotate his side and get younger legs in there, they got no chance, and the manager will be gone with the rest of them. This is what makes the big time managers, and listening to the pundits, that's what they got doubts about Southgate. Can he take Harry Kane off? Can he take somebody off? And that's what the former players are saying. You know, you've got to make changes, and that's the same with Portugal as well, with Martinez. Well, is he brave enough to take Ronaldo off? So we'll soon see. But I think there's an upset there, Steve. Croatians always sneak through. I'm not impressed with the Italians. If they have to win, I think they can roll Italy. Yeah, that's my opinion, but 23-10 will have my money. Steve, on to the MLS, and there was a round of games last night. We'll kick off with the first game. We got Cincinnati against New England. 4-10, a good price.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Cincinnati had a close game, but won last night. And New England are still bottom of the Eastern Conference, so you expect Cincinnati to win that.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they'll win comfortably. They're a decent team. They'll go close to winning the whole thing. Columbus 1-3, Steve. Now, they were involved in that, I think it was the Americas where the leagues combined. They were beat in the final. I watched it. They won last night. I know when you have a look at all their form, their recent results, it's terrible, but they're one of the best teams. I think they're the current champions, if I'm not mistaken.
They are
Sporting Kansas City, 9 defeats and 10. Empty out.
No, I mean Columbus lost last night to Inter Miami.
2-1.
Sorry,
they should still be too strong. You know, Sporting Kansas City.
They lost as well.
Goals. I'd expect Columbus to be too strong and win that.
Yeah, sorry, made a mistake there. DC United, who can't win a game against Houston, Steve. I don't see Houston losing. Do you?
Could be a draw. They got a result last night. Houston sort of drew with Seattle. DC, you know, not bad at home, but they're having a poor season by their own admission. So I think you're right, probably a draw, maybe not a bad call.
Yeah, and the New York Red Bulls, Steve, 5-10 to beat your Toronto. No, you're in Vancouver to beat Toronto.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll be too strong, certainly at home.
So they're staying up in Canada because they got Montreal.
Who's that?
New York.
No, New York are at home.
So
they played, they played away from home, yeah. Steve, Orlando City against Chicago. Chicago, no Shaqiri.
No, exactly, and I think Orlando, again, not having the best of seasons, but I think they should be too strong for Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. You just never know. Can't catch them every time I have a few rand on them. On to our second page, Steve. A team that I thought would do a lot better is Philadelphia. 8-10 at home against Charlotte. Not a bit short?
Possibly, yeah. I think you're right. They had a really good season last season, Philadelphia Union, but not so good this year. But I think at home, probably they had a close game last night. They only lost by the odd goal in 7 at Cincinnati. Philadelphia might have taken a bit out of them, but I think they should probably start as favourites at home.
They've only won 1 at 12, and Charlotte have only lost 1 in 9. But we know the home ground advantage in the MLS is major. Steve, I'm all over Minnesota. At home, they don't get beat. 3 wins and 2 draws of the last 5. My man Pookie, I think, is up front.
Away the other day.
They don't win away from home. I thanks them all day.
They had a bad defeat last night. They conceded 5.
Yeah.
Away at Dallas. But as you say, at home, they're strong and they're having a decent season. So I think you're right. I think Minnesota at home should be too strong.
Yeah. Nashville against New York City.
Yeah, I think this would be quite a close game. New York City lost last night. They travelled all the way over to LA, lost to the Galaxy. Nashville had a good win at Toronto. I think probably, I wouldn't be surprised Nashville could edge that at home.
Yeah, I know the game finished at 6:30 South African time this morning. I was following it to do the updates. But I like Nashville, the 2 teams, Steve. But New York City, not the worst of sides. St. Louis, I was going to make them my best bet of the day until they got beat last night against an Atlanta team who beat Inter Miami away, and they won away last night. I still fancy St. Louis, though.
Again, I think what's happening, because obviously some of the teams like Inter Miami, for example, you've got to the Messi away with Argentina in the Copa America. So some of the South Americans that are playing, and even the US players that are playing, are going to be in the Copa America. So St. Louis will be, and I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta get another result.
Yeah. Nailed my colours to the mast with St. Louis in the bets. Can't change now. Steve, Colorado, who actually beat St. Louis 3-0 away, at home against Montreal.
Fifth place.
I think that might just be too strong for them. Montreal having a mixed season. They held the Red Bulls last night, but I think that Colorado at home might be a little bit too strong.
Yeah, the form team, onto our final page of the MLS, and the form team is Real Salt Lake.
Another good
unbeaten in 15, but LA Galaxy in a bit of a roll.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. I mean, that really is a big game. Christian Arango as the top scorer. He's got 16 already from Real Salt Lake. They're scoring a lot of goals, and at home, I think Galaxy had a good win last night against New York, but I think Real Salt Lake should just about edge that.
Yeah, I think there'd be goals in there. That's the way I would go. Los Angeles, one of the top sides against the struggling San Jose.
Yeah, I think they should win that. San Jose conceded more goals than anybody. I think if LAFC don't win, that will be a surprise.
Yeah, the San Jose got beat at home.
Yep, San Jose. Now, Portland, Phil Neville's team, they won 2-1 away last night. They had 5 bookings against the other teams, none against your Vancouver team. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, well, this is sort of West Coast derby. So I think Portland at home might be... Vancouver not having the worst season, but I think Portland should just edge that. I think there'll be a close game. I can see them winning it by 1.
Yeah, and Seattle, who drew 2-2 in Houston at home against a Dallas team who haven't won in 9 away from home.
Yeah,
again, as you say, these, Dallas scored 5 last night, but away from home, they're struggling. So I think that you're probably right. Seattle should start as favourites.
All right, Steve, I'm going to get my page now. Steve, I need your best bet and value bet. Who you want?
Well, my best, I'm going to go for France. I think that they'll, even without Mbappe, they've got the players.
What price
and I
are
think
they?
that they'll be too strong for Netherlands. And for me, Slovakia, I think I was impressed with them as a team. And I think those are decent odds against Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm going for the Czech Republic, Steve. I think 8-10 is a good price. And I'm going to stay with Croatia. I just think they've got it. I haven't been impressed so far with the Italians, but they play tonight against Spain, so that could change my mind. But, I've nailed my colours to the mast with Croatia to get to the last 16. And if they don't win, they're gone. So I'm going to chance that team. But Steve, thanks again as always. And
pleasure.
Let's hope the Portuguese mood in Madeira improves.
All the best, Steve.
Well, cheers. Talk to you over the weekend. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Thanks very much. There we go, Steve Brown, the pundit in Madeira at the moment. But I need to know what your selections
are. Yeah, Paul, we'll do the Saturday exotics. The Soccer 13 is a Sunday bet. So we'll call them up. And the first one up is our Soccer 6 for Saturday. And when it gets a little bit clearer, I'm going the Czech Republic. I've thrown the draw with the Czech Republic against Georgia. I think Portugal will beat Turkey. In Egypt, I'm going the field in the El Gash versus Smua SC game. I'm going Belgium win and draw against Romania. On to Brazil, where I'm going Curitiba, the field against Atletico Goianiense, and I'm banking Ecuador to beat Venezuela in the Copa Americas 2-1-6. On to our second Soccer 6.
Belgium to win.
I'm going for Belgium to beat Romania. I'm going Houston to avoid defeat against DC United. I'm going Orlando City win and draw against the Chicago Fire. 2 fields, the first in Philadelphia Union against Charlotte, and then Nashville against New York City. And I'm chancing St. Louis City to beat Atlanta United 2-1-6. On to the Soccer 10, I'm going Belgium win and draw against Romania. Houston Dynamo win and draw at the DC United. Orlando City win and draw against Chicago Fire. The field in the Philadelphia Union versus Charlotte game. Banking Minnesota United to beat Austin FC. On to the second page, I'm going Nashville and New York City. I'm going all 3 matches. 3 bankers, St. Louis to beat Atlanta, Real Salt Lake to beat LA Galaxy, and Colorado Rapids to beat the Montreal Impact. And our last game is Portland Timbers win and draw against Vancouver Whiteheads 288.
But of all those 10, I know you always talk about the home team advantage in America. There's only one home team you haven't.
Yeah, it's Houston. They don't concede goals, Paul.
No,
That's
DC
against Houston. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, the rest you've included.
No,
everyone.
you have to, Paul.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, on to our Soccer 13. It is a Sunday Soccer 13, guys. So I'm bankering Germany to beat Switzerland. I'm going Hungary win and draw against Scotland.
Ooh.
Keep my old man happy. I'm going Espanyol win and draw against Real Oviedo. I'm going San Vikings win and draw against Skövde ARK. Bankering Varberg's Bois to beat Gefle. And the women's game, I'm going Christianstad to beat Linköpings. And Luginskiel win and draw at home against BK Olympic. Onto our second page, I'm going with FC Rosengard win and draw against Oskarshams. I'm going RK Kongabala, hope I pronounced it right, win and draw against Stenungsund. Two bankers, Uruguay to beat Panama, USA to beat Bolivia. Bahia win and draw against Cruzeiro. I'm going Flamengo to beat Fluminense in the Rio Derby. 100,000, 256.
On your 13,
yeah.
You don't see Scotland coming over the win.
Paul,
they need it.
They need it, Paul. You know, I had to side.
The other side better than them, you think?
Paul, it's touch and go.
Touch and
I should have gone 1 and 3, Paul, because
but
I went
correct.
the draw.
They're both going to have a full go. Yeah.
You know, so
okay.
Just when when you trust the Scots, they let you down. So. But anyway, what can we do, Paul? You should put 1, 2, and 3, but then it just
inflates. When you trust
it.
the Scots, they let you down.
Sure, my dad will be happy with that comment.
Dad will be happy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Braveheart, Rob Roy, Braveheart. Where are they when we need them, Budge? Yep. Give me your best bets.
Yeah, Paul, I'm going a Euro treble. I'm going France, Germany, and Croatia all to win 2,200 to 200.
That's a nice bet.
Yeah. And the Euro teams, both teams to score. I'm going Slovakia, Ukraine, Georgia, Czech Republic, Turkey, Portugal, and Scotland, Hungary, 2,200 to 200. On to our second bet, a Euro quad. I'm going over 2.5 goals in the Georgia, Czech Republic, and Belgium, Romania, and Albania, Spain games. And Portugal to reach the semi-final at 15 to 10. So that increases the odds to 2,400 to 200. Okay. On to the MLS, I'm going Columbus to win by more than 1 goal. I'm going St. Louis to win and over 2.5 goals in the Minnesota, Austin, and Real Salt Lake LA Galaxy games, 2,000 to 200.
Have you any idea what type of attendances they get around the country?
But they're normally full, Paul.
The major, the New Yorks and the Californias might get more.
Paul, they do their deals on tickets, packs of 5 games, of what I'm led to believe.
Okay,
just to try and get them there, yeah.
Okay, I was thinking like a Real Salt Lake. They're decent enough.
Yeah, more likely 20,000. I've never really looked at it, but into Miami you can't pay, can't get a ticket.
Can't get a ticket. I'll have to speak to Ashley Rushton. All right, let's
anyway,
go.
Our team goals of the MLS, I'm going Columbus to score over 2.5 goals, and Cincinnati, Minnesota, and Seattle all to score over 1.5 goals, 2,000 to 200. And our Collis King, 6 or Nixa. I'm going Germany, Spain, Cincinnati, Columbus, St. Louis, and Palmeiras, 2,000 to 200.
Well done, Bud. So it's all building up to 16 teams.
Yeah. Paul, the hard part for me is you try and work out the 4 third place teams.
Yes.
Because you've got the top 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Now you know who's going to run third, but sometimes they've got third placed in the best in groups A, B, and C. So you think, okay, so you make the log. Well, who's going to go there? And then there's
but if you have a situation where you run 1 and 2, you're the best 2 teams in the group. Then you go into the last 16.
Yeah.
When can they lock horns again? Only in the final?
Only in the final, yeah.
That's the normal
that's
way.
how it should be, Paul.
Yeah,
beforehand, it wasn't that way.
No,
they always said they put them in the one half.
Only in the final,
But that's how it should be.
You still with Portugal?
Paul, they weren't impressive, but the prices, Paul, they're 7-1, 6.
And you still have confident Croatia can pull off the miracle?
Paul, well, nailed my colours to the mast, got a few rand to come with them, Paul. So disappointing. I thought they'd win yesterday, and then a point against Italy, and they'd get through. So I backed them to get the quarterfinals 3-1. Yeah.
No Scotland, no party.
Well, remember our bet, Paul. Scott McTominay, top Scottish goal scorer, 11-2.
What about the Croatian to get an assist?
Oh, Modric, been garbage. The one he put on the plate, the guy hit over the bar. So my mood didn't improve. Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Until next time, stay on side.